bleak, though. I'm just kidding, y'all look great. Especially you. You look really good. What's your name?
Shannon.
Say it again?
Shannon.
Shannon?
Yes.
Yeah, what's up, Shannon? I'm good. You got a boo? You got a booski? You got a girl, a lady?
Yes.
Is she here?
No.
Well, I'll be done in like 5 minutes if you want to meet me. No, that's fine. My mom's here anyway. She wouldn't approve. Anyway, like I said, my name is Jamika, not to be confused with Jamaica. I always get people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Jamika, are you from Jamaica?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because my mom was Aboriginal. She's pretty funny. She has good jokes. I actually met this woman, though, not too long ago. Her name's Tacoma. She's from Tacoma, born and raised, and I'm not kidding you about that at all. And I just feel bad for her because I'm sure, like me, she probably gets a little bit annoyed with the jokes. And I wouldn't mind the jokes if they just weren't so corny. You know, I get people coming up to me, hey, Jamaican, you crazy? Oh, I see what you did there. That was good. That was really funny. So this is only my second time doing this. Losing my comedy virginity was actually pretty exhilarating. It wasn't as bad as losing my actual virginity, which was awkward. But that's a story for another time. Anyway, like I said, my mom is here, and my mom is unintentionally one of the funniest people that I've ever met in my entire life. She likes to, well, when I was younger, she used to tell my brothers and I that we were adopted all the time, just adopted. I think she just wasn't ready to be a mom and was in denial, but, so, you know, my brother and I one day were going at it, we're fighting, and all of a sudden we get into these yo mama jokes. Keep in mind, my mom's like 3 feet away from us. So it's like, you know, your mama's so fat she has to use a highway as a water slide. Oh, well, your mama's so ugly even the dog won't kiss her. She turns around and says, you know what, you both better be quiet if I talk about both your moms in a minute. And I mean, what can you say to that? You kind of feel unloved and all you can do is go in your room. But she also likes to tell really corny jokes. And she knows they're corny, but she thinks they're funny. And one time we were leaving Safeway, and she looks over at me, she gets this really pensive look on her face, and she looks over at me and she goes, you know, I would hate to be a shopping cart. You know why? And I'm like, genuinely curious. And I'm like, yeah, you know, why? Because I don't like to be pushed around.
Hey, I thought it was funny.
And then she proceeded to laugh as if it were the funniest thing, not that she had ever said, but that anybody in the history had ever said. The best thing is when she says something funny and she doesn't realize that it's funny. She was sitting at her computer once, and we had just gotten a new computer, and she's just thinking out loud, and she goes, you know, I think I'm going to give our old computer to the homeless. Now, that wouldn't have been as funny if it wasn't a desktop, but it was a desktop. And so this image of this family, this poor family, just poor in the sense of, oh, really sad, not poor, like they don't have money, because obviously they don't have money, they're homeless, but, sorry. So I just had this image of people, just a mom carrying this computer monitor and her little kids running behind her with tons of cords in the tower. And they're just pissed off. They're pissed as shit because some caring person gave them a computer when they don't even have a desk, let alone a desk to put a house to put a desk in. So they're like, you know, a desktop. I couldn't get a laptop. At least I have a lap. It's always with me. But, you know, that's just my mom. But she also gives really good advice, but even her advice is funny. The other day I was talking to her, and she was kind of, you know, I was telling her, you know, that I needed to do something differently. And she was like, don't change, you know. I never change nothing for nobody, not even my panties. I was like, never enough for panties, not at all, none of that. Been the same amount of work since she started potty training. They're really weird looking. If you look at her when she walks away, it's kind of like a bread pushing out of her. Like, I'm kidding. She doesn't look like that. She has underwear. That's it. And I'm proud to say that. I don't know if I want to be a mom. I'm really not sure. Mainly because I can't fathom pushing a 9-month-old person out of my ragamuffin. And nobody's cutting me open. Not happening. But my family, they really seem to want me to have a kid, especially my little cousins. They'll come up to me and they'll rub the chub on my stomach and say, hey, when are you going to have the baby? And excuse me, the baby, as in you believe that there's a baby in my stomach right at this very moment. Well, that's a really backhanded way of saying, hey, fat ass, get to the gym. But nobody, you know, they all seem to be overlooking the fact that I don't have a car, I don't have a job, I don't have a house, I don't have anybody to even consider reproducing with. And I first three, whatever, but the last one, I think that's pretty important. And so, nobody, though, is more adamant about it than my grandmother. My grandma, I'm her oldest granddaughter. I'm one of only two that she has. And she calls me princess. And she's always telling me to have kids. And I'm like, I think I'm just going to adopt. And whenever I tell her that, she looks at me as if I just farted in church. Princess, don't say that. And then she takes a drink of bourbon. And I'm serious. My grandma's a drinker. I got a birthday call. My birthday was a couple weeks ago, and I got a call. My birthday's on the 8th. She calls me on the 9th. And she was drunk. Well, Grandma forgot your birthday. I'm sorry. I didn't have your phone number. What kind of grandma is that? She gets mad when I don't call her. And yet, she can't call me once out of the year on my birthday, on the right date. Anyway, so she'll tell me that I have to have kids, plural, kids of my own. So I started telling her, I'm not going to have kids. And she just, yes, you are. Like she has this secret about my uterus that I don't know. She would pimp out my uterus if she could. She doesn't seem to care whose kid it is as long as it's coming out of my lady bits. Speaking of my fun spot, I'm just really happy that the tampon has evolved. And I don't know, guys, you're not going to understand this, I'm sure. And if you're a little younger, you probably won't understand it. But I don't know if we realize how lucky we are to have plastic applicators. Because I had to use a cardboard applicator the other day, and I felt like I was sticking pencil shavings hand by the handful, just right up there. So, it was a great feeling. Anyway, so I picked up smoking pot recently. And, I'm learning a little bit about it, and just learning how to roll blunts, all that fun technical stuff, as a Afro man would say, pick out the seeds and stems. And I was wondering if picking out seeds and stems was anything like picking cotton. Keep in mind I was high when I thought of this. Because I'm just thinking, to explain why a lot of black people tend to smoke, because they're like, oh, this connects me with my roots. Let me just... I don't know. That's just a thought. Think on it. We can Google it later. Anyway, so I started to realize that, I'm a little bit attractive. I walk down the street and I get a lot of guys hitting on me, and it's a new thing, and so I'm enjoying it. I'm like, hey baby, what's up, Shannon? Call me later. So I'm walking down the street and there's this guy and he's walking towards me. And when you see that person across from you and they're like hot, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna smile at this guy when we get close enough. Just gotta wait, can't let it be awkward. Yep, here it comes, here it comes. So then the thing about that is that you don't know what you're getting back. Like, I know my smile's fine. I know. I brush my teeth at least once a day. And they just, you don't know what that other person's coming up with. So I'm like, okay, then I see this guy. He looks good. He's dressed nice. He has a nice complexion. I'm like, oh, okay, you go, boy. And then he smiles, and he's missing his two front teeth as if that's all he wants for Christmas. Like, they're just not there. And I was shocked. And when I get nervous, I tend to laugh. And so I was like... And I kept smiling at him, and so I think he thought that I was like, yeah, we can do this, no tooth, we can do this. And, but no, all I was thinking was, I don't want it at all. Don't want that, none of that. I also was walking down the street, and there was this guy, he was walking through the crosswalk, and he pulls up, and he rolls down his window, and he's like, hey, come here. And I was like, well, my mom didn't raise me fools, I stayed about 4 feet away from his car. And he was like, you look real familiar. Don't I know you from somewhere? What's your name again? And I was like, again? As in, you think I've told you before? Pretty sure we've never exchanged anything. And so I was like, no, I don't think I know you. And so he was like, well, what are you doing? Walking home. You want to ride? No. Not really. Well, okay. You sure? Like I was going to change my mind. Then he stares at me for a little bit, like he's giving me time to think about it. And I was like, you don't have any Jedi mind tricks that are going to make me change my decision. I don't want to ride. And I'm just wondering, like, in what situation has that worked for a guy where they weren't paying the woman to get into their car? Like, and I'm just mainly thinking about my future. Like, if I have the kids that I don't want them with this guy. So when they're asking me at dinner one night, hey, Mom, how did you and Dad meet? You know, I don't want to have to put down my fork and say, well, Mommy was standing on the corner, and Daddy drove up in his 1994 Toyota Tercel, and the rest is history. Here you guys are, here we are, happy family. Anyway, so I really don't like ignorant people, and I know some of you are like, now before you all agree with me, let me give you a couple examples so you know whether or not you fall into the category of what I consider ignorant. Now, we'll start with Google word spell check. Google spell check. I was typing in my name. Pretty good at spelling my name by now. I'm 24. I know how to do it. Typed it in. Jamika. Now, you would think that it would correct it to maybe Jamaica. No, it corrected it to Jemima. I'm just like, seriously, like, I don't know about you guys. I just think that's right. I also went to a small college in Oregon that was primarily white. That's right. I am college educated, even though I'm standing up here making a fool of myself. I can throw around words like anachronism and binary opposition. Yeah. So I actually had people who would tell me, so in 4th grade, I had this friend who was black, African American, and we were like best friends. And I was like, I couldn't care less about who you're friends with now, let alone who you were friends with before I even knew you existed. And I also had somebody come up to me and say, hey, I just have a question for you. Do you know Tyrone? And after hearing that more than once, I kind of just had to go along with it. So I was like, oh, Tyrone. Yeah, me and Tyrone, we go way back. We see each other all the time at the biannual black meetings. And then we keep in touch, in between, because we have this social networking site. And it's like Facebook, only we call it blackface. Anyway, thank you guys for being here.